Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're so excited to have you here today. And we're also excited to kick off our summer video series where we're going to talk about a different college related topic every week. And this week, it's going to be the campus tour. So we have lots of advice to share with you. But before we get started, I want to introduce myself. My name is Renee Minnick, and I'm one of the college consultants at Educational Connections. And prior to working at Educational Connections, I was a senior associate director of the Rochester Institute of Technology in upstate New York. I worked there for 28 years and I served on the admissions committee while I was there. So I learned a lot about what it takes to be admitted to a selective college. So I'm excited to share some of that information with you. Jen, do you want to introduce yourself first before we start?
Absolutely. Thanks, Renee. We're going to have some fun today.
We are.
And Jen Foldberry, I'm also a consultant with Educational Connections and have some background experience at the college level. I served as the Associate Director of Admission at the University of Toledo in Ohio for about 8 years. And then I kind of the other side of the desk and 15 years worked as a high school college counselor. So, and in addition to that, you and I, Renee, we both have been through the whole college planning experience with our own children,
That's right.
and we can put a whole spin on this today.
Yes, yes.
So let's just dive right on in. I want to talk about where to start. A lot of people always ask me, should I start my whole college visit process? Where should I start visiting campuses? And I always tell people it's never too early. You can always go
Mhm.
check out some college campuses, freshman, sophomore year of high school if you're interested and you kind of some ideas of what you're looking at. Do say, if you're going to visit that early, plan to go back again if it's a school that you liked and it's a school that's going to end up on your list because change over the years. So you're going to want it fresh in your mind when you're thinking about these schools that you're getting ready to apply to. So you can start by stay close to home, somewhere closer to home, maybe pick out a large university and a small private university and compare the two and get the feel for what those are like. Always a good place to start.
I agree.
And then also, what time of the year is best to visit?
Hmm.
Everybody always thinks that summer is the best time to visit because obviously we don't have as many responsibilities. School is out. There's not a lot of sports going on, so there's a lot more time to do these types of things. Actually, the best time to check out a college campus is during the school year, during the week. When students are on campus, they're walking to class, there's the whole campus vibe going on. Then you really get an idea of what the school is going to be like. So I always tell students if you can try to do that, maybe just if there's a day off that you have at school during breaks would be a good time to maybe schedule some of those visits.
I totally agree. I always tell families nothing beats a campus visit. And really, it's because you get on campus, you get to feel the vibe, like you said, you get to see what the student body is like, see if you might fit in there. And you really have to do that when the campus is open and active and vibrant. Families can also look at open houses in the fall. Campuses often have great open houses in the fall. Even those are on a Saturday, so a little bit easier to get to. But there's lots of student ambassadors and lots of people on campus during those. I get a lot of questions about, I schedule a visit and what do I ask for? So I want to tackle that next, I think. So obviously, in this day and age, it's really easy to go to someone's website and then you just click on either visit or explore or something like that. And it'll give you some information on how to schedule a campus tour and a campus visit. But there are certain things that you can ask for when you're scheduling those to see if you can get some more information. So 99% of the time, families will do a campus tour. And so that's the typical thing. But there's so many things beyond that. Definitely want to ask to see if you can meet with an admissions officer. And that might mean one-on-one. It might mean in a group information session. They're both super valuable. And many schools offer those every day of the weekdays and sometimes on the weekends as well. So I would definitely ask for that. You can also ask if you can meet with a department faculty member, the area that your child wants to major in. And that is such a good way to learn more about your academic major. And then also, they often give you a tour of the facility. So that's really cool because you get to see a lot of things that might not be on the campus tour. And then finally, I also say ask if they have residence hall tours. This is someplace you're going to live for the next 4 years. So you want to see what those residence halls look like. And many campuses will have scheduled residence hall tours where even if you can't get in the actual residence halls, they might have like with view or setup rooms so you kind of what they look like. So I would definitely recommend asking to see if you can get one of those scheduled in throughout the day. I usually tell families plan on spending at least half a day, if not longer, on a college campus to order to fit everything in. So don't jam pack your visits all together, even if the schools are close together. It's really nice if you can just dedicate one day to each school so that you really have the time to investigate and explore there.
Right. And I want to add one thing, Renee, 'cause I'm a foodie. Check out the dining halls.
Yes,
Okay.
for sure.
See, if they'll let you, you can have lunch when you're on campus and your tour or something. See how good the food is. That's a big one
Right.
too,
Oh, I
right?
totally agree.
So almost every visit includes a campus tour. You'll usually sign up for that when you register for your visit. So the tour is usually led by a student tour guide. So the student is the person who is actually physically going through being on campus right now. They're living the experience, right? So what better person to ask questions of?
I
Why did you choose this college? Or how safe do you feel on campus? Or what happens on the campus on weekends? Like everybody pack up and go home, or is
agree.
there lots to do? They'll be candid with you about, the things that they do. They like to talk about their experiences. That's why they signed up to be a tour guide.
Right.
So you can ask how accessible are the professors if you're in the middle of a project and you need to reach out to them about something. Are they pretty accessible? Do they have office hours? Can you email them pretty easily? You can even ask the roommate selection process works. Am I going to go in blind? Am I going to be matched with somebody? So, feel for what it's like to be a student there by connecting with your tour guide.
Oh my gosh, I totally agree. I always tell families it's okay actually to ask some hard questions too. We always told our student ambassadors if they ask you a question, be honest in the answer. Because if you don't like something, they probably aren't going to like it either. So, one question I tell my families to ask is, in your opinion, what is the one area that the school could improve? So, if they mention something that's really important to you, then that might be something that you want to look into or consider when you're making that final decision. I also have some tips that I want to give to families before they visit campus. These might seem like they just make sense, but it's good to say ahead of time. The first thing is arrive early. I will tell you, it is very hard to find certain parking lots on college campuses sometimes. Like, you really can drive around in a circle. You're like, I just don't know where parking lot D is. So give yourself time to find the parking lot, park, and walk in a comfortable manner. I know how hard it is, and I've seen families run late and they're rushing into the admissions office and they're all flustered before they even start the day, or they're feeling overwhelmed, and then they have to sit down and have this interview with someone in admissions, and it's just tough. I will tell you that admissions office lobbies are very nice. They have lots of snacks and drinks and places to take a
Food,
selfie.
yes.
Yeah, again, you take a selfie there, you can get information. Like, give yourself an extra half an hour to every school. Just arrive early and give yourself that time to go in and be comfortable. The second thing I recommend is a two-part. One is dress appropriately. And that means something different for every family and every student, but just be thoughtful of what you're wearing and how you're presenting yourself. You may not only interact with a student tour guide, but you also meet with an admissions. You might meet with a department faculty member. You really don't know who you're going to interact with. So make sure that you're making a great first impression. And the second tip that is to wear comfortable shoes, and that's for the whole family, because those walking tours can normally be like an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. And trust me, after that, walking across campus, your feet are going to hurt. So make sure that you're wearing shoes that are comfortable for the day. I also recommend that families check in with the admissions office, even if they're doing a self-guided tour or they have a family member or a friend giving them a campus tour. That happens a lot when you know someone at the campus. But I always recommend, even if you're doing that, to stop into the admissions office if they're open. They have information to share with you that that student won't know because they only know their one experience. They also can be a great place to stop and use the restroom, get some snacks. As I said, I'm right back to the food. And then also they mark down that you were there and you have visited campus. And if that's a school that takes demonstrated interest into consideration, that's an important thing that the admissions office wants to know, that you took the time to come and visit campus as well.
Absolutely. And another thing too, check out the surrounding area around campus. Remember, I went through this with my son, who's now going to be a junior in college, and we did the whole college tour thing and together, and actually it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed the process together. But one of the things we did was after the campus tour, we'd ask the tour guide, "Hey, tell us like hot spots around the area outside of campus. Where's a good
Right.
place to grab lunch?"
Yes.
And that's what we do. And we'd go grab lunch, again, food. But we'd go and grab lunch and we would sit there and we would have a minute together to debrief, after the tour, about what he liked, what he didn't like,
Hmm.
jotting down some notes, which is a big thing too.
I agree.
Writing some things down that, help them remember how the visit went.
Oh, I
So,
absolutely agree. Your families will pack like day they see a different college. And I guarantee by the end of the week, you will not remember what college told you what. So
right.
it's really important to like notes afterwards. I think that having that meal and doing that debrief is a really good idea.
Yes, for sure. Well, we've been trying to keep these sessions short and sweet. So we're going to wrap up today. We want to give you a little bit of a heads up of what we're going to be talking about next. Our next video is going to be about the college essay. So we're going to share practical tips to help students craft an authentic and compelling essay. We're going to share examples of excellent essays that have worked. We're going to talk about some common mistakes and how to avoid them. So we look forward to chatting with you all again. And thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much. Hope to see you next week.
Bye bye.